Hey guys. Let's get Alright. Okay. Alright, so let us begin part 7 of Judges. We are going to talk about a new leader, a unassuming leader. We'll go ahead and read about the outcome. I already forget how serious this gets. It has a little bit of a twist and a turn, a little bit serious here. I think we're going over another poem by Hilary Belloc, and I can't tell if it's Sir John Benjamin. I think he does the next one. Again, you know my annotations are not what they should be, but Hilary Belloc states, "The moon on one hand, the dawn on the other. The moon is my sister, the dawn is my brother. The moon on my left, the dawn on my right. My brother, good morning, my sister, good night." And this is titled The Early Morning. So very poetic, right? We can probably guess that this is another one from Hilary Belloc, the poet. So with this, I'm getting nature. I'm getting nature, appreciation for nature, personification of the sun and the moon, which we know is a common theme in the Quran. Not necessarily the Bible, but it definitely comes up in Genesis, right? It's a little bit personified. Quran personifies the moon and the dawn or the sun more. And again, that's not to say that worship is associated with these things, right? We can appreciate, we can even love the sun and the moon. Gets a little out there that way, but it's really, relating to the sun and the moon in this poem, right? Sister and brother, being in tune with your surroundings, right? With the light. The moon is a reflection of the sun's light. The sun is the effervescent light itself, but relating to the sun and the moon. Really, it's calling for nature, so I'm going to kind of stick with that. If another relevancy pops up as we're reading, we can go ahead and tie it in, but it will tie into the very end of this reading, which we'll get into. If you guys are familiar with this story, you know where I'm going, but as for me, I was not familiar as I read it, so I had to become familiar. Let's begin with chapter 10. It says, "Again, Israel did evil in the let me restart that. Again, Israel did evil in the eyes of the Lord. He became angry with them. He sold them into the hands of the Philistines and the Ammonites." The Lord gets angry here. We see that. It's written that he is angry. He speaks audibly. He says, "Go out to the gods, go and cry out to the gods you have chosen. Let them save you when you are in trouble." So he gets a little bit snappy, right? Animate. He snaps back at them. "Go cry out to the other gods you have chosen. Let them save you when you are in trouble." But the Israelites said to the Lord, "We have sinned. Do with us whatever you think is best, but please rescue us now." Then they got rid of the foreign gods among them and served the Lord. And he could bear Israel's misery no longer. When the Ammonites were called to arms and camped in Gilead, the Israelites assembled and camped at Mizpah. So we have a brewing battle, right? The Israelites are crying out for help. They know deep down in the back of their minds, they know the Lord is the only one that could help them succeed in this moment. But they really had to get rid of their other gods for him to help. Makes sense, right? It does. It's like, why are you, for daily life, focused on these things, right? These other entities. And when you need help, you're calling on me. The Lord is just increasingly frustrated with this back and forth. There's no sense of loyalty or commitment to the covenant that was set for the Israelites. So yes, if I was the Lord, I would be angry too, for sure. So they call upon the Lord, and everybody is going up in arms. It says here, Jephthah. That's just how I want to say it. It's Jephthah, or Jephthah. Jephthah the Gilead was a mighty warrior. His father was Gilead. His mother was a prostitute. So we're going to take a beat here because it says his father was Gilead. Well, if we're remembering correctly, didn't all the sons of Gilead, weren't they killed? Didn't they pass away? We remember in the last thing, the 70 sons of Gilead passed away and only the one survived, right? The youngest brother. But it does throw this little caveat in here that the mother of this child, Jephthah, was a prostitute. So he was actually outcasted during the killing of the other 70 brothers. He was outcasted. He wasn't a part of that. He was already gone. So he comes back, or maybe he didn't go too far. He comes back and they're calling upon him because he was a strong and mighty warrior. And Jephthah said, this is going to be the hardest part of the whole thing. Jephthah said to them, didn't you hate me and drive me from my father's house? Why do you come to me now when you're in trouble? Sounds familiar, right? Sounds very familiar. Sounds much like what the Lord is thinking. Why do you come to me when you're in despair? Right? Didn't you disregard me completely in all of your daily activities? Interesting. So Jephthah said to them, Jephthah does agree to help them, right? He wants to redeem his relationship with his family. And then he sent messengers to the Ammonite king reminding them. Then Israel sent messengers to the king of Edom, saying, give us permission to go through your country. But the king of Edom would not listen. They sent also to the king of Moab, and he refused. So Israel stayed at Kadesh. So he's reminding the messengers of the Ammonite king to tell the king. He's reminding them, Israel was never inherently violent. They asked permission to move through the lands of the other leaders. And when they had finally went into battle, it was a easy takeover. They didn't really enact so much violence on these people. They pushed the other people out. That's his argument to this king of Ammonite. They won fair and square, right? There shouldn't be any bad blood. This is what he's saying to the Ammonite king. He continues, now since the Lord, the God of Israel, has driven the Amorites out before his people Israel, what right have you to take it over? So he's saying we won this fair and square, right? The Lord God of Israel had granted this land to us, and now you want to take it back? That is not fair. That is not how this is supposed to go. It says, then Jephthah went over to fight the Ammonites, and the Lord gave them into his hands. He devastated 20 towns from Aroer to the vicinity of Minnith, as far as Abel Karamim. This Israel subdued Ammon. So, Israel subdued Ammon. That sounds a little weird, but of course the Ammonite king does not agree with Jephthah's argument. He does not agree with that. He's like, nope, that doesn't work for me. You guys are going to have to do what you're going to do. So what happens? The Lord gives the people into the hands, which means they essentially defeated them by a lot with the Lord's help. Israel subdued Ammon. Let me just check on my grammar here for a second. Doesn't flow the way I like it to flow. Thus, not this. Thus Israel subdued Ammon, the Ammonites and the Amorites. And something got out of order. Let me just rearrange this real quick. Before he takes them over, he said this one last arguing point. The argument was actually quite long if you want to read it, but this is another point here. He says to the Amorite king, I have not wronged you, but you are doing me wrong by waging war against me. Let the Lord, the judge, decide the dispute this day between the Israelites and the Ammonites. Then it says, then Jephthah went over to fight the Ammonites, and the Lord gave them into his hands. So right now we have lots of different judges in this book. Right now the Lord is being called the judge, right? The official judge. So something happened though, because Jephthah and just the Israelites in general were still in this, I don't even know what to call it, this mindset, this it's not pagan, right? I don't know. Don't quote me. How they were worshiping the other gods, right? We said there was a lot of perversion in thinking, right? Perversion in action. So they were still in this mindset. So Jephthah thought that it would appease the Lord if he said, well, if you help us win this war, I will go ahead and sacrifice the first person that leaves my house when I return. Why he would do this, I don't know, because it's his house, and really the only person to leave his house would be his close friends and family. So why would he make this arrangement with the Lord? I don't know. I think that was a misstep in judgment. I think that the Lord probably would have helped the people regardless whether he made this contract with the Lord, and it just seems a little bit off but you have to remember the way that they were thinking before, right? Maybe involved some strange sacrifices and weird perversion in thinking. So that's just something to remember. So they defeated them, right? They won. So when Jephthah returned to his home at Mizpah, who should come out and meet him but his daughter, dancing to the sound of timbrels? She was an only child. Except for her, he had neither son nor daughter. My father, she replied. And meanwhile, he sees his daughter come out. He remembers the word, what is it called? Sorry. Vow. I'm looking like word, vow, contract. He remembers the vow that he made for the Lord, and he breaks down. He is absolutely distraught. He tears his clothes. He's crying. He's like, I don't want to do this. In reality, could he have prayed to the Lord and not gone through with it? The answer is yes. But this is what the daughter says. She said, my father, she replied, you have given your word to the Lord. Do to me just as you promised, now that the Lord has avenged you of your enemies, the Ammonites. She says, but grant me this one request. She said, give me 2 months to roam in the hills and weep with my friends, because I will never marry. So, it does say after 2 months she returned to her father, and he did to her as he vowed. So he sacrificed his own daughter to the Lord, right? The Lord didn't ask him to do that. He just said in his own vigor and his own excitement and his own passion to go ahead and appease his people that had rejected him for so long. He's like, just please, help me win. I will do something drastic if I win. Essentially, he was waging some kind of deal with the Lord, and the Lord does not necessarily work like that, right? The sacrifices happen as an atonement for previous sins that had taken place. It's, people will do this mistake and do the perversion of thinking you should make sacrifices in order for something good to happen to you. That's not the case. We learned about that when we had that one mystic, right? He kept making sacrifices at all these places and trying to figure out if the Lord would listen to them and do all these things for them. No, that's not how it works. You make a sacrifice, generally of an animal, to go ahead and to atone for your previously committed sins. It's not something that you can do before or you vow to do if something good happens to you. So again, it's just kind of like a paganistic, I'm not sure the word of it, but it's just a different way of thinking to kind of strike a deal with the Lord. The tests are one thing, right? The tests are not involving us giving up anything, but to strike a deal with the Lord, as serious as this, was out of sorts, right? It's out of place. But yeah, so that's sad, right? But it says Jephthah fled Israel 6 years. Big whoop, that wasn't too long. Then Jephthah the Gilead died and was buried in the town of Gilead. So, I mean, he did a service, right? He got them out of whatever suppression that they were in, whatever oppression they were in, for about 6 years. And we can imagine what happens after this, right? Who is next to step up and remember the Lord? Who is next? Does anybody know? It's going to sound so familiar once we hear about it, but I guess we'll learn about this later. But who is next? Yeah, sad thing. I guess this is how I would relate the quote about the sun and the moon and just nature, because that was Jephthah's daughter's last request. She's like, give me 2 months to roam the hills and weep with my friends. So she wanted to be out with her friends. She wanted to be in nature. Sad, really, but she went with dignity. She did not make her father feel bad or terrible about it. She knew that that was the fate of her family's decisions and that was her destiny. And I'm sure she was rewarded for her action, right? But yeah, craziness. That's pretty much it, you guys. If it was me, if I was that daughter, I would have taken those 2 months and ran away, right? But she went with dignity and loyalty to her family. So that's just kind of the complete opposite of how the Israelites were acting. They're acting not loyal to the Lord. They did not have any dignity in what they were doing. But this one young child, she had dignity, she had understanding, she had loyalty to, even if it's just her family. So that would be maybe a role model, a martyr, I would say, a martyr example. Yeah, that's it. Kind of sad and crazy, but this is Judges for you. We're going to get right through it, I promise. We're almost done, actually, so God bless you guys. Have a great Monday, and talk to you soon.